Hello everybody and welcome to our presentation. My colleague Claudia Carroll and I will speak about our project Spirit Maths, which stands for Students, Perceptions, Informing and Redefining Innovative Teaching of Maths in Higher Education. Claudia and myself work in MTU. What is MTU? MTU is Ireland's newest technological university. We have 6 campuses, over 100 degree programs, and over 18,000 students. So to put it in context, Maths is a service department, and a typical degree program in MTU in a semester is 6 modules, each of them 5 credits. Students are assessed in all 6 modules, and a typical module is 3 hours of lecturing plus 1 hour either tutorial or lab. Just to give you a few more numbers. Last year, we had 3,169 first-year students in MTU. We had 120 programs, and out of those, 81 included at least one Maths and Stats module. That meant that over 70% of first-year students had at least one Maths and Stats module. That does present a challenge to staff. Over half of our first-year students find Maths difficult. 1 in 3 just want to pass the module, and over 40% don't think they can get any better at Maths. We wanted to gain insights into students' perceptions. We wanted to explore their preferences for digital learning resources. Keep in mind that was pre-COVID. Developed digital tools to support the learning of Maths, and develop a diagnostic test that will identify and help first-year students that are at most risk. Again, to give you a bit of a timeline, we obtained funding from the Strategic Alignment Teaching and Learning Call 2019. We then proceeded with ethics approval. We did our first survey just after we were pivoted into the emergency remote teaching. We then started work on digital resources based on that survey. In February 2021, we did another survey. In parallel with that, we were developing a diagnostic test. We had online student focus groups that were testing the diagnostic test and the digital resources. And then in April 2021, we got more funding under the SATLI 2020 funding call. Just to give you a little bit of an idea, we had 2 large cohorts of first-year students surveyed online. So in total, 325 students have expressed their views. I don't have time to go into much of this, but just as you can see there, a few observations. A third of our students, our motivation was just to pass the module. Only 22% of students wish to get better at Maths. Of course, that lack of motivation is a barrier to students' engagement or progress in Maths and subsequently in other applied disciplines. And equally, it is a great challenge for the lecture to work. In addition, over 50% of students find Maths difficult. Well, no surprise there. 35% of students have a so-called fixed mindset. They don't believe they can learn Maths or get better at it. This greatly impacts both students and, of course, lecturers that only have 12 weeks, and it's very hard to change that in 12 weeks. We surveyed and asked them what do they want to see. So they told us they want to see online resources, bank of resources, links to various online text materials, videos, and past exam questions. Based on that, we have developed digital resources, and my colleague, Claudia, is going to talk a little bit about exactly what are they going to see and what kind of digital resources we have developed. This is our team, and now I will pass you on to Claudia. Any questions, please email us or check out our website, Spirit Maths.
Hi everyone. Welcome to our short screencast to show what a student will see when they go to access the engineering maths resources for Spirit Maths. Once the student is on the Canvas page for Maths Online, they can select from a number of resources according to student course, module code or name, or topic. If they select module code or name, they can search for their individual module. And if they wish to access the resources for Maths 66014, they select this module and are brought to the following page. Here they can access a number of past papers, some of which have links to video worked solutions. For example, if the student selects the 2019-2020 exam paper, they can then try the questions and click on the video link embedded next to a question part if they're having difficulty completing that question. Clicking on the video link for question 1B part 2, for instance, brings the student to a page where they have the option of attempting a similar question, so the same style but different numbers, and they can enter their answer in the space provided. Once they check their answer, they are told whether they're correct or incorrect. If they do not get the question correct, they can then look at a short animated video going through a similar question in full. Once they have watched the video, they can then try more questions of the same style by clicking on the Numbers link below the video. This question is in the same format as the exam question and the video solution. The student can attempt the question themselves, or can use one or more hints to help them with the question. For instance, if the student needs a small amount of help to start the question, they can click on the first hint, which should hopefully help to get them started. They then have the option of continuing from there themselves and solving for X. Alternatively, they can click on a second hint for a little more help. At each stage, they have the option of then continuing with the rest of the question themselves or getting further help. Eventually, after either entering their own answer or having used all of the hints, the student can try another question of the same style but with different numbers by clicking Try Another Question like this one. Alternatively, if a student is looking for some general revision or help with a particular topic in their module, instead of looking at past exam papers, they can access some of more resources for their module by clicking on the relevant topic. If a student clicks on Logarithms Revision, for example, they are taken to a H5P book where all of the relevant resources are gathered together. There are brief instructions at the top of the page on how to use the resource, and when they open the book, they have access to all of the same resources that are accessible through the exam paper links, but here there are several types of question, and the student can easily navigate through the book to work through one or more types of question. In each case, the student can first try a question and enter their answer, then watch a short video going through a similar question, and finally access further practice questions using the Numbers link below the video. There is also the option of providing feedback on the resources provided. So that's an overview of some of the resources that have been developed under the Spirit Maths project. Thank you for watching.